Test, test, toast. Hello, this is Wayne from Repairs. Just seems to be having a bit of a problem with chat at the moment. Not that it matters because nobody's ever on there. Apart from yesterday, there was somebody having a little chat yesterday. Let's just put a quick one. Yeah, seems okay. It says chat disconnected. Please wait while we try to reconnect you. Unable to connect chat. Please try again later. Okay. There we are. Thanks for joining me again. This is Wayne, Repairs. Today, I wasn't sure whether I was going to do a video today because I don't want it to get too repetitive. But today I've got a FaceID repair. I do like doing these. I do like going through the repairs on them and diagnosing them. It's a very simple diagnosis on these FaceID higher lower issues. So basically we get our JC Pro 1000S. Don't know why they didn't just call it a JC Pro 1 because there's not 999 of them before. So let me see if there's any battery in it. Come on, power up. There we go. So there we are, that's on. I'm on 15% battery. Really need to put a bit more charge in this. So what I'm going to do is, I've got this FaceID Flex here, as you can see. There we go. And I'm going to plug this in. Let me just check what phone this is. This is an XS. You can tell it's an XS by the little stripe at the top. So what we're going to do is we just plug in the shortest of the three flexes. So let me just zoom in a little bit so you can see. There we are. Move it over here. So we're just going to plug this in on there. Click, click. Come on. There we are. Clicked on. You get your little beep. And then first thing we're going to do is there, we're just going to press check. Immediately it says fusing. So you can see the message on there. Let's see if it comes up. There you go, fusing, it says on that screen. So that to us tells us we have a Face ID issue on this Flex. So the only way of resolving this problem with the fusing issue is by changing the short flex with a little chip. So I've shown you on a previous video how it's done. I can't remember whether that was a live stream or not, or whether it was a normal video. But anyway, we're going to risk doing it on a live stream now. They don't always work, these. I'd say probably about 90% of the time it works, but not all the time. Not every single time does it work. And that's despite my best efforts. Now, I notice when it doesn't work, it's nothing to do with the Flex. The Flex works fine. It passes all the tests. You get the reaction from the camera, so you can see it on the when you're looking with your camera. You can see it's responding. You can see the dots are there, but it just doesn't work. I've had ones where it's been the screen before now. So, for example, the actual screen itself that's being used is the part that's faulty. You change the screen, problem goes away. But obviously you've got to fix the fusing issue first. So to fix this issue, you don't need any of the phone. Phone all goes over there. So you need this here, which is the Flex. Put those screws over there, they're the base screws. Then you're also going to need, I'm going to use the JC Pro method. So I'm going to get the JC Flexes out. Hopefully I don't disturb my camera. Little bit of an awkward position. Here's all the flexes I've got for JC. Excess, that's been used. Don't know why that's still in there. 11, excess max, excess, there we go. We're still doing well for excess flexes. As you can see, I had to bulk order these. I had to get quite a few of them so that it was so that I never run out of stock. I really don't like to run out of parts during repairs. It's one of my pet hates. So you know, you're doing a repair, you've been stingy up front, you've only... Are we still on? Yeah, still seems okay. Fortunately, I don't use the computer anymore for this. I use this ATEM Mini Pro. That's ATEM Mini Pro. Now, what that means is I'm not relying on a computer to do the streaming. So I rely on my streaming box, which does all of the upload and everything. Literally, before I start a video, all I do is press on air and turn the microphone on. If I want to transition between the computer and a camera, I can push number 4. There you go. Want to transition to the camera, I push number 1. If I want to transition to the microscope, which isn't really looking at anything at the moment, there you go. You'll be able to see something there now. Want to transition to the microscope, I can push number 3. You can see that, totally blurred, there we go. And then I've got camera 2, which is offline at the moment. Now this is really handy, this is. I'll show you what it is. So this is a little box. It's a HDMI to lightning converter. So you plug power into it, plug your HDMI into it, and then you plug your box into the device you want to look at. So I can plug this into a phone, and instead of me having to show you the screen with a camera, I can show you a live view of the actual screen on that phone. Absolutely amazing for doing videos with, because it's so tedious. You know, you've got these little boxes here versus having to show you the contents of the screen. You know, it's just so much simpler. So much simpler. So what we're going to do now is, welcome to everyone that's joining at the moment. So what we're going to do now is something I completely forgot to do once. Very embarrassing this one was. What I've done is I've done one of these flexes, and I took the whole thing out, took the flex out, took the sensor out of it, and I was almost ready to put the new flex on, and I stupidly realised that I'd completely forgotten to copy the data off the old flex onto the new flex. So basically I had to sit there, I had to resolder the old flex cable onto the sensor, copy the data off, and then solder it back onto the new one. A total screw up of intense proportions. So yeah, just be really careful on that. Remember, the first thing you do is copy your data across from the old one to the new one. You know, we're not all infallible. We do all make mistakes with these repairs, but it's how you go about rectifying those mistakes that's important. So here we are. I know it's early at the moment. I know USA is in bed, so I'm not going to have any viewers from there. But, you know, hopefully people will enjoy watching it later down the line, even if we've got no viewers at the moment. So I'm going to switch this on. Okay, switched on. Going to zoom out a little bit. You don't need to see that close. There we go. You can see a little bit more of the area now. You even see a little bit of me. Right, so we're going to plug in the flex onto here. There we go. We've plugged it into access. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go check again. Let's just make sure that it's fusing. Definitely fusing. 100% fusing on that one. So now we're going to press read. Read in data. Says read the end, which is fine. Unplug that from there. Stick it to one side. We're going to get our new flex here. This is the new one. Now this has got the little chip on the flex down here, little tiny chip on the flex. So you'll probably be able to see it there. I'm going to plug that back onto where the other flex was. There we go. And we're going to go burn. Sorry, not save. We're going to go burn. Burning will cover the original data. Ensure. Checking. Check, 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 check. Burning is complete. And that's about it, really. That is how you copy the data from the old flex to the new flex. Now, it would be really nice if that was all it took. But unfortunately, now what we've got to do is we've now got to take out this sensor from here, and we've got to put it into the new box, onto the new flex, sorry. So we're going to use a few tools here. I'll show you what we're going to use. We have, first of all, let's grab this. This is the most important part. This little, it's really heavy actually. It's got some weight to it. So we're going to put this into here, into there, and we're going to move that over, and we're going to move that one over. Okay, and now we're going to make sure it's nice and tight. Did this last time actually, and I tightened it up, but I tightened it up too much. Tighten that screw up there. It's always handy to keep a real tight grip on this. You don't want it floating around and flipping out of here. So that's literally going to stay in there until the job's done now. So that's stuck in there. Now, what we got to do, we got to prep it. Then once we've prepped it, we switch everything over. I'll show you how to do all of that. And then after that, the other bits we're going to need afterwards is we're going to need these here. That's for the XR only. This is for the X, XS, XS Max. These are going to hold it all nicely in place. Let's put that back down there again. Okay. Cool. These ones, this one here, this is amazing, this little device. I can't believe I survived without it before. Clips onto there magnetically. Click, 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 click. Which way does it go? Which go that way? Right. That little thing magnetically clips onto there and holds all of the Face ID components together before you glue the damn thing. Before that, I was trying to get alignment manually. What an absolute nightmare that was. So then what we've got some super glue that we're going to need. Not that one, that's the wrong one. We need this one. This was bloody expensive, this super glue. Loctite 460. It's called, I thought all super glue was the same until I spent an hour researching the damn stuff. It's called low bloom super glue. I just thought super glue was super glue before. It's low bloom, low odor. Now, what the blooming heck is low bloom? Low bloom is that kind of white fuzz that you get around super glue when it's setting. So that basically would be no good in the instance of doing this, because I'm about to stick super glue within like a millimeter of a very delicate sensor. So that low bloom bit is very important, so we don't get that white haze around the super glue. Otherwise, the white bloom would end up interfering with your, what's his name? With your sensor. So that's why we need to think about this and get one that's low bloom. So we need low bloom, and then we need this activator. So super glue activator. This basically activates the super glue immediately. You don't have to sit there holding it, sticking your tongue in a certain direction. It literally just sets the super glue and away you go. You can stick the whole thing back together again immediately. You don't have to worry about the super glue sticking. Now, word of warning, once that super glue stuck with the super glue activator, it's stuck. It's very difficult to get back off again. I'm blabbering, so let's start the video properly. I'm going to put this on here, going to put that on there. I think I'm going to go over to, do we want to go on to like little hands-on camera? Let me just have a little look at the hands-on camera. There we go. Hands-on cameras looking not very nice at the moment. Hands-on camera. There we go. Stick that there, and Mr. Hands-on is going to have a super close-up view of the action. Hopefully Mr. Hands-on can focus. Let's get him a bit further away. What a bloody nightmare this is, getting the alignment right. There we go. And cut to number 4. There we are. So you can see here, problem is it's very bright. There we are, you can see much better now. So you can hopefully see there, with a bit of blur. Let's see if I can change the focus on that so that you can see it better. There we go. Focus is perfect. Right, so we've got a little bit of focus on that there. We are going to use the microscope view as well, so don't worry about that. So it's just so you can see a little bit there. Hold on a bit, just got my other half on the phone. I'll just need to take that call. One moment, please. Sorry about that. Other half on the phone, it's raining, she might need a lift into work. Basically, we've got our Flex here, and we're going to have a little look at it now under the microscope, I think. So let's flick over to camera 3. Let's zoom out here, and I'll show you what's what first. So what's what is, this is our little sensor that we're looking to redo. So this little black piece of foam on the top of it first has to go. That little black piece of foam is just in the way. It's only lightly stuck on, so you can just scrape down the edge. The reason I'm not just destroying it is because we want this piece of foam to stick on to the back when we've finished. So when we've finished, we're going to stick that back on again. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we got our little piece of foam off the back of the chip. Now we're going to try and find our little pry tool. So got a couple of little pry tools that I use. I'll show you them now, but first things first, I just need to clean it up. Just got a bit of super glue on it. Show you what's what when it's all cleaned up. So these thin metal shims are very important in microsoldering. It's amazing how on earth we coped before they were available, to be honest. Before they were available, we just had to kind of cope with whatever was around. So you'd basically have to have shaved down pieces of metal. You try and use scalpels that have been prepared. God, there'd be all sorts of methods trying to get just that right shape. I remember trying to cope with what's her name? Trying to do CPU rework before the really thin CPU shovels came out, where you could get underneath where the balls of the shovels and you could just rework underneath them. God, that was a tricky time before that was available. So this one here that I'm preparing now just had a bit of glue on it. So It's this one. I'll show you on the camera 1. So it's that shape there. So you can see it on the hand. So it's got like a little curve at the end of it, curves round. It's quite thin. You get them in these sets. So I'll show you the sets that you get them in if I can find. There we go. So you get them in these little sets here. Go back to camera 1, there you go. You get them in these. So there it is there. I could have just used that one, to be honest. I've got plenty of them. Where is it in that one? So there's that one there. And then I sometimes use that pointy one there. So just a few little sets that we've got available. Right, so we're going to use this anyway. I'll go back to camera 3 and we're going to just bend this up now a little bit. So watch what we're doing now on here. So we're going to, this gets stuck underneath there. But before we can do it, you'll feel, if you're doing it, you're like, oh, blooming heck, how can I stick that under there? Well, first of all, you need to melt the glue. So you need a bit of a glue melting, but you can't melt it too hot. Otherwise, you'll end up melting the camera next to it. So we're going to go into here and melt this glue at around about 170 degrees Celsius, which is nice and cool. Not enough to melt that plastic camera lens next to it. First job I ever did, melted the bloody camera lens. Took me longer to fix that camera than it did to actually do the original job. So, you know, dedication though to fix the problem that you've caused and get it back again. So we're going to warm this up, warm this area up, and then we're just going to push these bits of glue out. See how it starts moving almost immediately, this glue? That's it. Getting good movement straight away on the glue. So we're just pushing the glue out from underneath. Careful you don't get underneath the flex and end up getting under the camera flex here. You could end up pushing the camera flex out by accident if you do that. So we're doing that. Next step, once we've got rid of all of that glue that's under there, is we need to create a little bit of space. We need a little tiny gap under there so we can get this flex out of here. So we're going to go in under, and we're going to twist. Okay, twist. Don't worry, it won't snap. Twist, there we go. That is our room made. Okay, don't worry about the camera, don't worry about anything else. We've just twisted just enough to make a bit of room. Okay, but we've not twisted enough to damage anything. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're in there, we've done that. Now we need to get this at an angle so I can see under it. Let's see if I can do it without an angle first. No, we need our angle. See, I can see under it now. Well, that's because I'm looking at it under an angle. So what I do is I've got my special little wedge. So I've got this. I'll show you what it is now on the other camera. Camera 1, it's a little wedge I made. That's all it is. Make one yourself. It's a wedge. Not very difficult to make. So little tiny wedge, and you can stick it behind the board, wedge it up at an angle, and now, lo and behold, I can now see, without holding it, I can see underneath that chip. I can see it at a nice angle. Really, they need to be sold on a Union Repair. And any other site like that, any of these sites that sell really useful gadgets, this will go down a treat for a lot of people. And I'm sure it could be improved on. I probably built this about 3 years ago. I built it for one purpose, which was to do my audio repairs so I could see under the chip. It's such a nice thing to have. So what I'm going to do now is, here is where I'm going to try and get the chip up. But I'm going to need some heat again first. Not much. 170 is enough to cause this glue to go soft. So I'm going to go in at the side of it here. Okay. And we're not looking to pull it up, we're looking to twist. Twisting. There. See that just happened then? and then we're going to push it sideways now. Okay. Okay, we've got that bond broken. Okay, it's thoroughly broken now, that bond. Right. Gonna get our tweezers now. Let's see if we can remove this flex. See it moving? See, it's moving nicely now. Zoom out. We don't need close zoom up here. Okay. All we're gonna do now is just push it out. See? Just comes nicely out. Just fell out then. Didn't need to do anything at all. Anything at all harsh. It just fell straight out. Okay. Stick it back on here again. Let's have a look at it. Let's inspect it. Make sure it's all okay. So, let's go on the camera. Zoom out. Zoom back in. Right. Flex goes to the back. Okay. Flex goes to the back. Zoom out. Now that's got to go. Notice here, that sensor has got to go in that little hole there. Okay. Then we get some Kapton tape. Bit of Kapton. I'm going to stick it down at the back. Shall I show you on camera 4, shall I? There we go, camera 4. So that's what we're looking at the moment. So, cam 4. Pick it up a bit. There we are. Done. That's in the nice place. Goldilocks zone, should we say? Perfect, just right. So, looking at that now, what we need to do some work on this now. So, we've done a couple of steps first. Now, let's get on to the important steps. These are the tricky steps now, these are. So, let's get nice and close up with a nice sharp scalpel. And let's go on camera 3. And first of all, we're going to do our scrapey bit. We need to scrape down the side of this chip here. Do not go anywhere near this blooming sensor. This sensor is so delicate. You notice those jump wires that are running off it. Let's zoom in closer. Okay. So all we're going to do with this, just going to scrape a bit of that black away from next to this chip. I tell you this because last time I did this repair, let's say last time, one of the times I did this repair without doing this, I lifted this chip up and this whole black blob came with it. I've told that story before in another YouTube video, so I'm not going to blabber on again about it. I'm just telling you that's what happened, so therefore I've adapted my process. And this is why I now do this first. Okay. It's only a slight process, but it just saves that whole piece of black coming boom and falling out along with the rest of the stuff. So, I'm going to go a bit hotter now. We need to desolder that, so I'm going to go up to about 220. Still no flux. No flux at the moment. We don't want to get flux in that sensor. Then we're going to get our scalpel down the side. This is a too old one, this is, so it's not very good. Down there, and we're just going to pry this up. And it's gone. There we go. See where it just got pried up? Okay. Now what we're going to do, next step, is we need a bit of flux. So, not too much flux, we need a tiny amount. So all I do now, I'm going to get me this. I'm going to stick my scalpel in the end of my flux pen to get a tiny dab of the stuff. If I use this bloody great big pen, then we're going to end up with a problem. So we need to go small, 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 small. I'm just going to dab that on there. See how small that is, how tiny amount of flux I need there. All the rest of it is still on the end. Right, so next one is we're going to get our jumper wire. We're going to get our super fine soldering tip. Super fine soldering tip, the one that's in reserve just for this. I say just for this, it's in reserve for very fine shit. Right, you gotta make sure you save a tip just for very fine stuff, because otherwise you'll end up using them and you'll never have that fine tip that you need. So I'm just gonna dab that onto there. We need a bit more solder. We need a bit of solder. There's no solder on my tip. Usually there's enough left over to do this. There we go. That's it. There's usually enough solder left on the tip from the last time I used it. Not on this occasion. Okay, so let's do that. Let's get our solder wire. We're going to run our solder wire straight inside there. Jump it. Some people just make a little blob here. Some people just blob it. There we go. That's that bit done. Don't underestimate how small this is. This is really small, this is. Okay, that's that done. Okay, there's the little jumper wire run. Next step of the way. Now we need to get this thing out of here. So we need to get it off the old flex so we can put it on the new flex. So we've done our work. Let's stay on 220 and we're going to clear around the edge of this chip. So let's zoom out a little bit. You notice we've got some underfill around the perimeter, around the periphery. So let's just clear it out. We don't need this old flex, so don't worry about the flex. Okay. Hopefully you can all see. Run along the edge. Just getting rid of all of that solder mask. That's really close to the edge, there's an out there. Okay, next step, we need our tweezers. Gonna go up temperature, up to around about 300. I'm gonna desolder it now. So I'm gonna desolder it from the flex. Just get some pressure. Left, right, left, right, left, right. There we go, and we're off. So we've been released from the old flex. Old flex is going to go in the bin. Don't need that anymore. I actually don't bin them. I don't know why. I don't bin them. Turn that over now. Show you what we're doing. So camera 4. So it's still on here. I've just turned it over. It's around here. You can see it on there, right there. Okay. I've just turned it over. The light's a bit bright for you to be able to see it, so let's just try moving you in. There we are. So you can see that there. I've turned it over. And now what we're going to do, we are now going to clean it up. So process is, if we have a little look under the microscope, show you. There's all sorts of crap on the underside of it. There we are. All sorts of gunk on the underside. We just need our scalpel, our sharp scalpel. Okay. And then what we want to do is hold it down with our finger, because it's the softest thing around. Zoom right the way in. Okay. And you can see here now, you can see all of this black underfill. So we just need to scrape it all away. Okay, it's going to stop this. You can get rid of the solder as well if you want. We don't really need that there. There are easier ways of doing this, I'm sure. You could probably use a soldering iron and some flux to do this. But I've just found this manual way seems to be the best way of doing it. You know, if I stick flux on the back of this, I've got a chance of it getting inside that sensor. Then I've got to clean the blooming sensor. So, you know, the more flux I use for this repair, the more of a clean-up job I've got at the end of it. So, if I just go in completely dry, nothing at all around, and I just do it manually. Okay, see there, doesn't take too long. Okay, let's turn it around. Same around this end. Just cleaning off all of this underfill. Okay. You know, you can see it with your eyes how bad it is, so just clean it up as you see fit. It's pretty sturdy, this is, so don't worry about damaging anything on the back of it. I say don't worry about damaging anything, within reason. You know, let's not go and chisel away at stuff on the back of this chip. Okay. Should be happy there now. Let's just check it now. So let's have a little look. I'll just grab it with tweezers. Clean it up a little bit. Right. I just want to check it now. Visual inspection. Make sure everything's gone off it. Okay. I think we are looking good there. A tiny little bit around the edge here. Just a little bit. Let's clean that up. Oops, where's my sharp scalpel gone? It's not that one. It's that one. No, that's not my sharp one either. Who's stolen my sharp scalpel? There must be someone in here with me, but there isn't. Okay. There we are. That's all cleaned up now. Let's just check the other side, make sure I've not butchered it on the other side. I really need a level desk. Everything rolls off my desk. Okay. Looking good. Everything's fine in there. Much happiness. Right, so next step of the way. We need to get our flex that we programmed earlier. So grab our flex and stick that under the camera. There it is. There's our flex. Cool. Notice on these JC ones, they are pre-tinned. They have got some solder on there already. There is sometimes a bit too much on it. So what we do first, let's get our flux pen. Okay. A little bit of fluxy goodness. What do you say when it goes wrong with flux? For flux sake. Yeah, bad jokes. Okay. There we are. I've just gone over those because they look like it had oxidized a little bit on those pads. So just retin them again. I'm going to put the flex over the top of it. over here, right? Now before we start again, I'm going to use some Kapton on tape and I'm just going to secure that down because the last time I tried it, when I didn't secure it down, the flex went flying halfway across the room and I nearly lost the sensor. Note to self, secure it down. Yeah, genuinely, I don't say these as jokes. These things have actually happened. You know, learn from my experience of where I've gone wrong, and therefore you don't have the same learning curve yourself. Okay, so we're going to go a little bit hotter. We're going to go about 320 on this now. You don't need much. There's no thermal plane on this at all. It's literally the heat can't go anywhere. So let's get this down. Push it down into place. We're just going to get some hot air on the go now. Should start reflowing really quickly. There we are. See, it just went straight into position there. Okay. Notice those little solder balls popping out there. It's where I've got too much solder. I pushed it down, I put some compression on it, they've popped out there. That's really handy to know that on this, because what I'll do now is I need to go in a bit cooler because that was too hot, that was. I noticed it was bending the flex slightly, so you've got to be reactive to this as you see it happening. See that, as I pushed it down really hard, you've got all of these balls popping everywhere. Wipe them all away. Wipe them all away. Okay, every single one of them. This is important, this stage. Okay, wipe all them balls away. Now reflow it again, but take it off this time. Cool. Right, we're taking it off, and now we're going to put it back on again after we've checked the underside. Okay, see there, we got some balls lying around. Get rid of them. Now what we've done by compressing that down, it's a nice little tip this is. By compressing that down and popping all of those balls out, we've caused a uniform spread of solder now. So now we know we've got a real good uniform spread of solder. Now we can put this back on again. We've got no bridges, and it's going to be nice and thin for us. Okay, one of the biggest problems with these FaceID flexes is when people use too much solder. Okay, I'm just going to inspect that now. So we're going to inspect it under the microscope together. Let's have a look, pull it back. Let's have a look at the end. Got good adhesion there by the looks of things. Little solder pop there, that's fine. Good adhesion there. Good adhesion there. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about, this end is popped out slightly. See, in comparison to the rest of it. So I just want to make sure everything's connected there. I don't think that last little pad on the end is right. Just looks a bit distant. So I don't want to go and super glue this whole thing into place and then realise that we've got a problem. You know, let's rectify these issues up front, and then hopefully we don't have any problems when we go to fit it. Let's go down a bit into position. I'm just going to put a bit of downward pressure on it there. Okay, looking a bit better, that is. Got some good adhesion there by the looks of things. Right, I'm going to test that now. Let's give that a test. We always test this before we go off. So let's turn the power on. Let's flick over to camera 1. Hello. And we're going to test this now. We're going to test this flex. So we're going to take it off the test, off that board there. I'm going to put it into here and we're going to run a test on it. So there we are, we're connected. Let's go check. See, anode abnormal. So this is telling us that we have made a mistake here on this. So we've got a problem with B and A. So 2 of those are not connected. So here we are. Let's go back over to this one again. And now let's check this out. Okay. So what it's saying is that this thing hasn't stuck down properly. You know, we haven't got good adhesion on this. So let's take it off and let's do it again. Okay. Let's go over to here. Let's flick over to camera 3 for you so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. I think the amount of solder we've got on here, I might have pushed a little bit too much out. When we popped them balls before and pushed them all out, I may have pushed out too much. So, no worries though. You know, I'm just going to put some more on. There we are. I'm just going to throw a little bit more solder on here. I think I did push a bit too much out before when I was doing it. There we are. Yeah, I think I was a bit too excited before when I was pushing it out and doing it. I think I did push out too much. Right, let's try it again. Okay. We have got a little ball popped there. That's okay, it's no worries. Let's just try that. I didn't push quite so hard that time. Check the end. Looking good. Notice how we've got no flux inside this sensor. That's how I want that to stay. Really do want that to stay like that. Okay, let's just test it again now. Back over to camera 1. Let's test this. Normal, right? See? Spend a little bit of time, get it right. Okay, so problem solved on that. Let's unplug it. Let's switch this off. We should be happy there now. That is a working flex as far as we can see. Okay, so let's pull off the Kapton tape. Right. Going to get a little bit of thingy. Where on earth has my dispenser gone? Where's my isopropyl dispenser gone? Who's stolen the isopropyl dispenser? I say who's stolen, I'm the only one that's been in here, so it's got to be me. Where have I put the isopropyl dispenser? Found it. It's on the other desk over here. Might just have to unclip us a sec from the microphone just so I can go and grab it. There we go. Back again. Right, so a little bit of isopropyl. Let's just dab, dab, dab. Just going to rub it around the edge here. Okay. Just around the edges. We just want to try and get rid of a little bit of it, because otherwise the mask doesn't stick properly when you do the solder mask in a bit. Right, so that now should be ready to go back in again. So we're going to go back over here again. Right, going to go back over to, then we'll go back up to close-up view. Okay, now what we want to do first is this little crystal here that's at the end. We've got to make sure this is clean, because if we've got any dirt in here, I can see the tiniest little speck of dirt. So we're just going to get our air blower. Hope it doesn't compress, because it often compresses when you do this. There we go. That's all I needed to do. I just needed to blow that little tiny speck of dust that was on the sensor. Looks beautiful now. No dust at all. So that's what you need an air blower for. You need to be able to blow out any air that gets on that sensor. It's supposed to be clean, that is. So now what we're going to do is get our tweezers and we're going to slot this back in again. Okay. Doing it under the microscope. Okay, slotting it in. Careful if you get any resistance. Don't force it, otherwise you'll crack that crystal underneath. So we need our little twisty thing. Where's it gone? Can't find it. Let's see if I can get it under without that. I'm just going to lift it up a little bit there. So just trying to lift up that little bit of metal. See the metal plate on top? Okay. It's going under slowly. Don't force it. It goes under of its own free will. If you go and force it, you will break it. There we are. Right. You force it, you'll break it, and you'll be sorry because you'll never fix it again. Okay, so that's on there. Let's just check our alignment. Let's go over to camera 3, microscope. So you can see our alignment's perfect there. Now let's just have a little look at an angle and see how it looks. It's looking good, but we don't know whether it's perfect. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's perfect, but we don't know if it is. So the only way of making sure it's perfect now is to take it out of this little jig. Let's go back to camera 1. Take it out of this little jig. Let's unscrew it. Okay. Take it out. And now we're going to get perfect alignment with this little beauty, this little piece of aluminium that's being cut precisely to do this alignment. So it goes into there. There's no movement at all in that. And then this bit, this little piece here, slots perfectly over the top of that chip. Okay. You'll know if it's not slotted perfectly over because it doesn't fit. It won't go on. It won't go in properly if it's not perfectly aligned. Okay. It's only when you've got perfect alignment will that actually go into there. So let's have a look at close-up view first. So let's look at close-up. Okay. Here. So see that there? That's the chip in the middle of it. And you'll notice there's, see there? Perfectly sat up and aligned. It's all clicked into place. So that is it. Now let's have a look under the microscope and let's see how perfect the alignment is there. So let's see. Now there is a slight gap that you can see under the microscope, which is interesting. See there? But I think that's the metal pushing it down. Okay. Let's just make sure we have got perfect alignment. Yeah, don't think that's going anywhere, that. Take it back out again. I think it's not pushing down properly because we've got that little bit of flux there. Got a little bit of flux left behind. But see, it does move when we're not being held down into place. Let's just make sure, let's push that down into there. Down into there. It's pretty much perfect, that is. Yeah, that's just a little bit of, that's just the flux that's stopping it from going down all the way. But as far as I can see that right in the middle of that window. Let me just get some focus on it. See that chip right in the middle of the window? It's right slap bang in the middle. There's no perimeter to be seen around it. So yeah, I'm good with that. Plus these little pins here. See the 3 pins down the side? You can see we've got good alignment by them as well, because they're lined where they were before. So they've pushed back into where they were before in positioning wise. So happy with that. That is good positioning, that is. You know, we are about as straight on that chip as we can get. So now what we're going to do then is we're going to get some super glue. I never do super glue direct here. Okay. Super glue always goes onto a piece of paper first. We're going to do super glue. We're going to do activator. The activator, I'll show you now on camera 1. Activator gets sprayed into the lid. So we've got some water in there. It's like activator water. Okay. Super glue. We're going to get a little dab on the end of the scalpel. Let's go scalpel. Dab it onto there. That's all we need. We really don't need much super glue. You know, 1 or 2 tiny dabs, 1 on each end, is all we're going to need. So let's close the super glue before we spill it everywhere. Okay. Put it back in there. Activator goes back in there. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get our little dab of super glue. I'm going to show you where it goes. I'm going to go back onto microscope view here. Okay. Go the open end, open window end, and then we're going to stick a little dab of super glue right there. Okay. And then immediately we're going to go straight in after that with some activator. So let's grab our activator. Okay. And we're going to go blob, blob, blob with some activator. Show you. Blob, 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 some activator. Straight away. Right. So that's now been activated. Going to go on the opposite side. Super glue. And that's it. We're all done. And that is how to do the Face ID flex. So we're all done. I won't extend the video too much longer. We're at an hour at the moment, and I do need to open the shop now. So this is just going to get all reassembled. We've already tested it on here to show that it works. I will retest it all once it's all reassembled, but unfortunately I do have to open the shop now. So signing out. Thanks very much. This is Wayne from Bit Repairs, Have a good day. www.bitrepairs.com. Thank you very much for watching.